Hi everybody, welcome back to part 2 of the story A Nice Price, one of the short stories by Damon Runyon from his book called On Broadway. And if you remember yesterday, Sam the Ganoff and our storyteller and Benny Southstreet and Liver Lips were up in Connecticut selling ducats, as they call them, for the boat race between Harvard and Yale, and then suddenly a really good deal comes up and they can't help but bet on it. Let's see what happens next. Well, we go on hustling our ducats, but neither Sam the Ganoff nor Benny Southstreet seem to have much heart in their work. And every now and then I see one or the other slip into the hotel lobby. And it comes out that they are still nibbling at the 3-1, and finally I slip in myself and take a little teensy nibble for 20 bobs myself. Because the way I look at it, anything that is good enough for Sam the Ganoff is good enough for me. Now, Sam the Ganoff always carries quite a little ready money on his body, and nobody will deny that Sam will send it along if he likes a proposition, and by he is down for a G on the Harvards, and Benny Southstreet has 4 C's going for him, and there is my double saw, and even old Liver Lips weakens and goes for a pound note, and ordinarily Liver Lips will not be bet a pound note that he is alive. Furthermore, Mr. Hammond Campbell says we're about the only guys in town that do bet him, and that he ought to get degrees off at the Harvards for our loyalty to them. But of course, what we are really loyal to is the 3-1. Now finally, Mr. Campbell says he has to go to lunch. But if we feel like betting him any more, we can find him on board his yacht, the Hibiscus, out on the river. And maybe he will boost the price up to 3.5-1. So I go into the hotel and get a little lunch myself, and when I am coming out, a nice-looking young doll is walking along in front of me, accidentally drops her poke from under her arm, and keeps right on walking. Naturally, I pick it up, but several parties who are standing around in the lobby see me do it. So I call to the young doll, and when she turns around, I hand her the poke, and she's very grateful to me, to be sure. In fact, she thanks me several more times, although once will do. And then all of a sudden she says to me like this, "Pardon me," the young doll says, "but are you not one of those gentlemen I see wagering with my papa the Harvards will win the boat race?" "Oh, yeah. And what is more, we may keep on wagering them. In fact, a friend of mine by the name of Sam the Ganoff is just now contemplating wiring home for another G to accept your papa's generous offer of a 3.5-1. "Oh," the young doll says, "do not do it. You are only throwing away your money. The Harvards have no chance whatever of winning the boat race. My papa is never wrong on boat races. I only wish he is today." And with this, she sits down on a chair in the lobby and begins crying boo-hoo until her mascara is running down her cheeks, and naturally I'm greatly embarrassed by this situation, as I'm afraid somebody may come along and think that maybe she is my stepchild and that I am just after chastising her. "You see," the young doll says, "a boy that I like very, very great deal belongs to the Harvards. And when I tell him a couple of weeks ago that my papa said the Yales are bound to win, he grows very angry and says, 'What does my papa know about it? And who is my papa but an old moneybags anyway? And to the dickens with my papa.' Then, when I tell him my papa always knows about these things, Quentin grows still angrier, and we quarrel, and he says, all right, if the Harvards lose, he will never, never, never see me again as long as he lives. And Quentin is a very obstinate and unreasonable boy, and my life is very sad for me." Well, who comes along about now but Sam the Ganoff, and naturally is somewhat surprised by the scene that he's represented his eyes. So I explain to him, and Sam is greatly touched and very sympathetic. For one thing about Sam is, he is very tender-hearted when it comes to dolls who are in trouble. "Well," Sam says, "I will certainly be greatly pleased to see the Harvards win the boat race myself, and in fact, I am just making a few cautious inquiries around here and there to see if there's any chance of stiffening a couple of the Yales so they can have a little help in the race. But one great trouble with these college propositions is they are always leveling, though I cannot see why it is necessary. Anyway, it looks as if we cannot hope to do any business with the Yales, but you dry your eyes there, old miss, and maybe old Sam can think up something. At this, the young doll stops her bawling, and I'm very glad of it, as there's nothing I loathe and despise as much as a doll bawling. And she looks up at Sam with a wet smile and says to him like this, "Oh, do you really think you can help the Harvards win the boat race?" Well, naturally, Sam the Ganoff is not in a position to make any promises on this point, but he is such a guy as will tell a doll in distress anything whatever if he thinks it will give her a little pleasure for a minute. So he replies as follows. "Why, who knows? Who knows to be sure? But anyway, do not bawl any more, and old Sam will give this matter further consideration." And with this, Sam pats the young doll on the back so hard he pats all the breath out of her, and she cannot bawl any more, even if she wishes to, and she gets up and goes away looking very happy. But before that she goes, she says, "Well, I hear somebody say that from the way you gentlemen are betting on the Harvards, you must know something, and I'm very glad I have the courage to talk to you. It will be a wonderful favor to Quentin and to me if you help the Harvards win, even though it costs my papa money. Love is more than gold," she says. Well, what will happen? How are they going to stiffen the Yales? Let's see. Next time, come back and read a bit more of that. Thanks for listening. Hope you're having a great day. See you soon. God bless. Bye-bye.